In the Emerald Isle, something unexplainable is happening. Tonight, prepare to witness the most frightening event in horror podcast history. A journey into the depths of horror history. First Class Horror presents the Class Horror Cast. Evil wears many masks, but pure horror wears only one. Support First Class Horror on Patreon for as little as $1. Can't get enough of the horror? Carve yourself a deal from official merchandise, only on Teespring. Join us on all social media at First Class Horror. We have such sights to show you.
Shar Mayer is a legendary haunter who has been working as a professional monster for about 45 years. You may have seen her in the award-winning documentary Haunters: The Art of the Scare, which is now streaming on Amazon Prime, Shudder, iTunes. You can also check it out at thehauntersmovie.com for more info. Before working on TV and films, Shar started in home haunts, haunted hayrides and scary mazes. After moving from New York to California, she worked at Knott's Scary Farm for over 15 years. After leaving Knott's, she decided to explore the darker side of haunting in extreme haunts like Blackout and the 17th Door. She also continues to look for new terrors during the off-season, performing in immersive horror shows. Many haunters call her the mother of monsters because she enjoys sharing her knowledge and experience to help new haunters get started. She also loves chatting about haunt, Halloween and horror with anyone who likes a scare and scream. Join me as I have a long conversation with Shar. Lots of lessons in this one, from getting involved in the haunt industry or filmmaking, producing shows, and lots of different things. I hope you guys enjoy this conversation as much as I did. I don't know if you'll remember, if anything sticks out in your mind. Can you remember when you were most scared in a haunt, or what that was?
When I was most scared, like as a guest going through, I get really, pop-ups scare me, you know? So like anybody that pops up, we were at Universal 2 years ago and a guy rolled out from under a bed. That I was floored by that. I mean, little stuff like that. And I know he was on a gurney. I look at things when I go through a haunted house very technical, like, oh, the way they're making that blood go uphill is like this. I do that with films too. And I know it's not a good thing, but I can appreciate the art of it. And then as I'm looking at that, somebody's like, here, got me, got me good. Like I'm fine with the pop scares. I don't think anything really grosses me out or I don't think I have any phobias. Like I've tried to think of them, for different shows we've done, what would scare me. And, even pop-ups just scare me. We've done some weird stuff that make people feel uncomfortable. But when you're in a haunt, it kind of or immersive theater, it kind of it lets you, it's okay to be exploring this. It gives you permission for that. So I don't think it really scares me. The only thing, people could just pop up behind a chair or desk and open a door and it's picture fall, drop panels. I love that kind of stuff. Floor falls, anything like that. Anything a first year haunter does scares me. I love that. I guess I'm an easy scare.
Yeah, me too. I'm the same. For somebody who loves it so much and such a big fan of horror movies, I like the simplest things still get me.
Well, things will surprise. Universal did something. Again, I don't go to too many. So Universal did something a couple of years ago with Freddy, where he was right here with his hands here, and then he ducked behind something, and then he was back over there, and it was oh wow, it made you your mind puts it together real fast. I mean, I know it's two different people, but the way it was done was just done so well, and I love that. Did it scare me? It didn't scare me, but I loved it. I thought it was a really cool effect. The things that some of the things they do at 17th Door make me go, what? We're taking the guests here. We want them to feel this. Yeah. We have one of the things that they do, which we've done for 3 years, is and it's designed differently every year. But you're in a chamber and you lean over backwards, and then it opens up and you fall. You have no idea where you're falling. You fall into a ball pit. But that kind of stuff. I mean, if I didn't know that was going to happen, like if I was in something and it just opened up in the back, like I already know that's what it's doing. So it wouldn't scare me. I wouldn't do it because of my back anyway, because I have a back injury. But that kind of thing, like being in an enclosed space and then the bottom opening up, I think that would probably terrify me for the 2 or 3 seconds that I'm falling. That would just, I'd lose it. But again, I mean, I knew about it. I didn't actually experience it.
Yeah, and like I love that. Like just when you mentioned Universal, about 5 years ago, I think they done a Freddy versus Jason. And
yes, that was the one.
Yeah, and I remember
that was great.
I'm not sure if it was the same over with you guys, but in Orlando they had a room. I think it was supposed to be Freddy's boiler room, possibly, and it had all this broken mirror and stuff. And I remember every time I done it, I was like so disorientated, and like it was kind of freaking me out just that alone, because I had this kind of fear from when I was young of like fun houses and the different funny mirrors and maybe getting lost in something like that. And I remember going into that room and they had all these weird effects where it looked like he was there, but it was actually a mirror and he's like right beside you. And like every time I could, as we would get closer and closer to that room, I would feel that feeling. I was like, oh no, I just want to close my eyes and just somebody walk me through.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that anticipation of knowing something. So I can tell you, last year when I was invited to, I think it was my first Blackmask show. So they put one person through at a time. Mm-hmm. And they gave me directions where to go, lock the car up, take my phone with me, turn it off, and wait here for a car to pick you up. It's kind of creepy. And where it is, it was right by a railroad track, and it was dark. There was no lights on, and it was like you could see the houses over there, and it's like kind of hitting a little bit too close to home. And I'm sitting there, and it's like I could just feel my heart pounding. And every car that came by would look at me because I was just a person standing on the edge by this railroad track. So every person going by would look at me. I don't even think they realized this would happen, but it did happen. And everybody would look at me and I'd be like, is this them? Is this them? Is this them? And they're going by, oh, it's not them. It's not them. Okay. So then I'd come down a little bit, and the next car, I'd feel the same time and then finally when a car stopped, and they rolled down the window and they said my name. And I was like, I knew this was it. And then like, handcuffs and bag over the head. That was not even as scary as the part of just standing by myself. My car was a block down, by myself, by a railroad track in the dark, no light, cars passing by me. That kind of realism really, really scared me. So by the time I got in the car and they handcuffed me and bagged me, my heart I must have been like 4,000 miles an hour. My heart's like racing. So my adrenaline level is already like through the roof. Anything they're going to do to me, like I'm tingling, anything they're going to do to me, I'm already like right there. I'm like at the edge of a cliff, and you just have to push one finger to push me off. I'm like that anticipation. Like you were saying, you're seeing something from further away as you're getting closer and closer to it. That kind of anticipation is an awesome theme to play with. I've done stuff like that where, like I was saying, like you see Freddy's here, and then you see him like out there. You see his arm reaching out, and then he pulls back, and then boom, he's back here again. That kind of spatial thing, I really like that. And it's hard to accomplish stuff like that. I think what you're talking about with the mirror thing, I did something like that in I think we did that at Universal, where it was kind of like you're kind of seeing what's happening but you're not, and then something else. I went through something also for a film. Oh, I know what it was. The last It movie. It, is that what it's called? It.
Yeah.
And they did an immersive thing. I don't know if they did it everywhere, but they did one in LA, and we went to it, and it had something like that in it, which was really, really cool, really neat. The way it's done, and like the anticipation, because the line is so long, everybody's like got their anticipation up so high. By the time you get in, you're like, you're right here. It's easy to play with them. And we have that also at different shows we do, is the workup before you're actually entering the theater, entering the house, entering the show. There's stuff that you could do before, like pre-show kind of thing, that is something that I think is really fun, instead of just going, okay, starting here and begin. There's so much more things that you could play, being immersed in things. And I really like to do that too.
So just on the topic there, you mentioned like being handcuffed and bagged and stuff like that. So I see a lot of stuff online about extreme haunts, and there's one name that's always at the top of that, obviously. For you, like how far is too far?
Depends on the person. To me, I guess you're referring to Russ. I don't like. Yeah. Not a fan of his. I know John went there, and John Schnitzer, who the director and producer of Haunters, The Art of the Scare. By the way, it's on Amazon, and forgot to mention that at the top.
Well, I'm actually talking to John on Friday, so.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Say hi to me. I haven't talked to him in I haven't talked to him all year. Oh, it's only a couple of weeks, but he went there. Ask him what the smell was like, because not a place I would want to go to. Like I said, there's a way to scare properly and to bring people to different places, and it's not about me. I want to bring my victims. I want to travel with them. I'm not an observer watching somebody being tortured, and I don't think there's any that's an entertainment form at all, except for the person who's doing the observing. I want to be with my victim and terrorize them, and I want us to travel together. And I wouldn't do anything to somebody that I wouldn't take myself. I wouldn't do myself. Things that he does that I don't like is now he has a waiver, I think, but he didn't have a waiver, and he didn't have a safe word. I don't want people to feel like I'm going to tell them when they've hit their limit. I can usually tell where people are if I could push them more, but if I'm missing that cue on them, I don't want it to be on me. I want them to be able to pull the plug and say, that's my line. I usually could tell. I usually could tell when people had enough, and I'll back off. And like I said, I'm into the roller coaster ride. I wanted people to get up to there and then let them come down a bit, because I want to take them up again. I don't want to go straight up and then crash straight down. I want to play. I want to go on a journey and have that fun with them. I don't want to do anything that's going to physically or psychologically harm anyone. I'm never going to do anything that's going to hurt people. I'm never going to do anything that people feel. But you could feel trapped in, but knowing that you have a safe word and an out at all time, that trapped claustrophobia feeling may be something you want to experience. You want to feel, where is this going? Can the ceiling drop down? How far can it drop down before I can't take it anymore? I'm not going to judge if you can go this high or this high. That's something you're going to have to judge for yourself. I'm going to give you that opportunity. But if you say this is high enough, that's your choice. I'm not doing it for my own enjoyment. I want to be on a journey with people and feeling this together with them.
Yeah, like the whole Russ thing and the McCamey thing, I think has, I guess the story and all the rumors that are out there now has kind of played a part in building maybe his following, because I know he has quite a large following, and And to be honest, I am a little bit intrigued by the whole thing because I see so many mixed reports of some people tell me that, oh, a lot of this stuff is just put out there to keep it popular. He doesn't actually, it's not this, it's not that. And that always
smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, and like I always wondered, was he just like really clever at that kind of stuff and a genius, or is it the other side where people are saying no, he just kind of gets off on it and he's like pushing you like too far?
Well, I think there is you can't look at Russ as, you have to break him up into different pieces and different parts. When John went to see him and filmed him for the movie Haunters, was one slice of his story. What he was doing before is another slice. What he's doing now is another slice. And you really can't look at it all with the same eyes because different parts of his story, different things are going on. Is John's movie what he shows? Is that what Russ is doing right now? No. Was that what he was doing when he filmed it? Yes. But what Russ has progressed or degressed or whatever, what he does now is different than he's doing there. And I do feel a lot of his is smoke and mirrors. I think he has crossed the line many times. He did have and John talked about it in the film. He had people working for him that shouldn't have been working for him. He's doing things that he shouldn't be doing. So there's a lot of lines that he crossed that I would never cross. Like I said, I want to be able to close my eyes at night and know I did a good show. The people that I were with, maybe they came right up to the edge. Maybe they didn't. I hope I took them to the edge. I hope if we're going to jump over, we're going to jump over together. I want that shared experience. I don't think he'll ever have that or he'll ever understand that. I know what I can do. I know where I can take my guests or my victims. Looking forward to taking more people there. I'm not done yet. I still have more things I want to explore. I think his is a dead end.
Yeah. So that was do you have any haunts maybe that are on your bucket list, or so is a haunt like that for you out? Something at that level?
Do it because I wouldn't do anything with Russ. I mean, I know Russ. I know him, and I wouldn't do that. I would do any haunt, anything. The only thing is because of my age and my health, I can't do electricity. So like some of the things that have electricity, I can't do. I can't do things with my back. I was injured at haunt. I talked about it in Haunters, but I was basically, somebody jumped me and I have a back injury. So I can't do anything where I get jarred or fall or something. If I go to a haunt, I'll try to talk to him ahead of time and tell him this. And usually, I mean, not usually, every single time, everybody's always been accommodating to me. There's a list of haunts. I would love to go up and down the East Coast and do all the haunts on the East Coast. There's ones in Washington, Washington State in the north that I really want to go to. There's a couple in Portland I want. There's Chicago. I mean, I would love to do haunts, but I can't because I'm working. And if it's a choice between haunting and going to a haunt, I'm always going to haunt. I'm always going to be the one bringing you the terror. Off season, when I can, anything I can do, I'm there. Like I said, I travel a lot. We went to Japan last year, did a bunch of haunts in Japan. Whenever I go someplace, I look for either haunts or haunted theater, immersive shows. There are things. When you go to cities, usually, there are things that you can find that'll may not be exactly a haunt, but it'll skirt the haunt area. Our next trip, once we're able to travel to Japan again, there's a bunch of haunts over by, hopefully they'll be open again, on the west coast of Japan, like by Mount Fuji. They have a bunch of haunts there. That's on my bucket list. England, they do fall festival stuff that I've looked at that I want to go to. There's some in Japan. There's some in Germany I want to go to. I mean, I talk to people and they tell me about their haunts, and I'm like, I want to go there, but I'm still haunting, and I just don't see it as like I just can't like say, again, I always say, oh, I'll take a year off and then I'll travel that year and just go haunt to haunt to haunt. And like this year, just the idea of like missing haunting, even with the pandemic, I was like stressing out going, besides the regular stress we're having, oh my God, I'm going to miss out. I'm going to miss it. I can't believe I'm going to lose. There's got to be something. And then to find out my haunt opened, and then I still couldn't work. And then they suggested me doing a virtual character. And I was like, I can make that work. I can make that work. And then the ideas started going off in my head, different things I can do. And nice thing about 17th Door is they'll give you parameters to play in, but you can explore within that area as long as there's some rooms have bullet points that you want to hit, but otherwise it's actor or performer run scenes. And as long as you hit certain things, and I usually don't have too many things I have to hit, you can take it to where you want to take it. And that's a huge freedom as opposed to working for a corporate, under corporate policy where you have things you can do and things you can't do. And the things that you can't do list continues to grow and the things you can do continues to shrink. And that's because of litigation. So having worked corporate, private, small haunt, I think where I am right now is like the best. I work at a private haunt, so we get to do a lot, and the people I work with are great, and they let us explore. And then off season, working in immersive theater and seeing the different shows that I can do with that. I really do. I have the best of both worlds. I'm able to do like all these things all year round, and why would I leave? I mean, I am still breathing. I still can do it. I'm limited in what I can do, and I work around those limitations, but I keep doing it. By the way, John is one of the people that I go with to Universal every year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Him cool. And sometimes some of his family. He's fun. He's fun in a haunted house, too. He screams like a little girl. He's great to go to a haunted house with. And people know him, too, especially in our area. So if they see him, a lot of times they'll hit him instead of hitting me all the time. So I get to watch him scream, which is always fun.
Are you, just as a matter of interest, are you a horror movie fan?
I do. I love horror movies. Yeah. I'm not as knowledgeable, of course, as most people, who watch your channel probably are. I really love the stuff that I grew up with, which is old black and white, the Universal monsters, stuff like that. But like the things that are going on now, like for instance, Heredity was the name, I think. Us. This is Us. Midsummer. Oh my goodness. I can't see Midsummer enough. Every time I get in like a weird mood in my mind, I'm like, I think I need to watch Midsummer. Yeah, I think so. And one of those movies that every time I watch it, I see new things. But I also like you put up a lot of these posters from like movies from the 60s and the 70s, which, my God, I grew up in that, House of Wax and stuff like that. And you put up a poster of The Fly the other day. Oh my God, that took me back. But like I like all the old stuff. Nosferatu, who's a big influence in my Smiley character. That image of Nosferatu coming up on the staircase, just with the shadows. I was really, really moved by that. Like at a young age, and that's like one of those images that get burned in your head. The thing about film is you can get these images that like burn into your brain. These horror. Like not fancy, but these horror images that get burned into your brain. Whereas when you're working in live theater, it's like smoke. It's like it's performed, it's there, you feel it, and then it's gone. And I like doing films, but I way prefer doing live theater in haunts because it's that feeling of it was there for a moment. You experienced it. You became part of something, and then. It's a memory. It's something you talk about or think about. It may not get ingrained in you like that image of Nosferatu with his hands up like that. I love that. But I think as a performer, I like that. I like to be part of live. There's nothing better than live because it's somebody. There's people that you're reacting with, and you're going through things with. When you're doing films and stuff, you're not a participant, you're a viewer, and you're watching. I like to be like part of things.
Yeah, like I guess it's probably, I've spoken to people who, you know, who say it gives them a crazy feeling to watch somebody react to their movie. But then I guess one step ahead of that would be to influence the person as you're right in front of them. Like you said, you can bring them on this kind of roller coaster. You can kind of decide, obviously within the limits of what they're able for, but you can kind of decide when to bring them down a bit. Now it's time to bring them back up.
Right.
And kind of play with them.
Yeah, play with them. I said like a cat with a mouse, you know, you're playing with them. One of the things after I see a movie, like, and it's all right, like not something like Midsommar, which I can watch over and over, but after I see a horror movie, and sometimes I'll go to a movie theater and I'll sit in the front and I'll turn around and I'll just watch the audience. And it's a different, I know it sounds really weird, but it's a different way of seeing it. And you could just see the reflections of the movie on their face. And then to see the audience in a group just reacting to things, it's kind of, I don't know, I think it's kind of pretty, like the way the film looks on their face. And then to see people like getting, like you see everybody at the same time go, or like that, it's kind of neat. And then, but I can't do that with people because people think I'm crazy. I want to sit in the front and look at the audience, turn around and look at the audience. But you never know. Sometimes I do that with films. But again, when I'm by myself, because I'm not going to drag somebody to a film and then not watch the film with them, but watch everybody. I guess it would make people feel uncomfortable. Yeah, probably.
Have you ever done your own haunt, or have you ever considered like branching out into doing your own?
I did a lot of, I worked a haunt back on Long Island where we changed it was a miniature golf course. So it had 18 holes and we transformed them into 18 spaces and then a house, maze in the front and a house at the end. And I did a lot of the production on that. It's interesting to me, but more interesting to me is, at this point you're talking, that's 25 years ago. I did that one. And I like doing that. And I have worked in special effects. I've done when I was younger, I had a special effects company. So I've worked in special effects. I work in makeup. I work in custom. So I have all the trimmings to put on my own production, but the actual parts of it, I worked with John Schnitzer, and Donald Juleson, also from Hunters, and we did some stuff for YouTube and we produced our own shows. I produced other things, but to go from zero to putting on a show, I'm working right now in something that's like I could never achieve what this show is doing. So it would be like stepping down for me, and I don't want to. I'd rather be in something that's freaking amazing and people come out of it and they can't believe it. I'd rather be a small fish in a big pond than a big fish in a small pond. You know, rather just be part of something that's amazing and people can't get enough of, and then do that during season and then off season working in productions that are already happening. I'm always into like people that want to be collaborative, and I love to give my opinion, as everybody who knows me, who's worked with me always knows, hey, why don't we do this? But actually start at the ground level and then work from there, work up. That's something I think at this point, you need a team to do anything, successful, unless you're going to just do a real basic home haunt to get your feet wet. You need somebody that, hey, I met this guy, he's really into visual effects, and I met this guy who's really into recording creepy sounds. Let's get together. I can do this, and come together and put something together so that you all move up to the next level. But I don't think at this point in my life I'll ever make my own Shar's haunted house. I don't think that's for me. More as just being part of something and being in a good group of haunters, people who know how to haunt the right way, who are haunting for the right reason, who enjoy it, who speak the same language as me. That's more of the kind of thing I like to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. So kind of one of my last questions, and I always ask everybody this, and it's sometimes maybe catches people off guard because it's a little bit off kilter, but like a lot of the people that I talk to, like yourself, I would consider have what a lot of people would say is a 1% life, where you get to do something where I'm not saying every day is sunshine and rainbows, but you get to do the thing you love. And even like you said, later in life, you have no desire or no plans to stop doing it, regardless of whether it be physical restrictions or whatever. Like, what advice would you give to people out there? A lot of people that listen are interested in these things that are maybe not seen as your normal job or what you should do. Like what advice would you give to somebody who wants to follow that dream, whether it's in, haunt or maybe script writing or whatever it is, to maybe chase that? Or because I think a lot of times, like, a lot of the message is just go to school, go to college, get your job, and just kind of, and a lot of people live with that then their entire lives, going, I wish I could do this, or I wish I had tried.
Well, and I don't want this to seem like a cop-out, but having a partner made me the success I am today. My husband, who I love, who I know since the 80s, we've been together for a long time, who does not like haunt, who does not like horror movies. Once in a while, I can force him into seeing one if my daughter says, oh, no, you'll like it. He's not interested in this in the least, but he knows this is my thing, and he's supportive, both financially and emotionally. He gives me the time that I need. So as my daughter was young and he was working full time, I would be the full-time caretaker of my daughter. But the month of October, we swapped. So he had to do his job plus that. And he gave me that time so that I was able to go out and do these things. Having a partner takes a huge weight. Financially, I could never support myself doing haunting, do what I've done until the last couple of years where I'm actually able to work year round. I've done, and before I was with my husband, I would work 3 jobs. So I would have my regular day job, my night job, my weekend job. So I'd work like a regular work, then I work in theater, and then I had a special effects company, so I'd work in that. So I always, the things that I think people would say, oh, my hobby is like my daughter likes to knit. So that's her hobby time. She would use that. So this is my hobby. I would like to do this. So I would put my extra energy into that, whereas I'm still feeding myself and able to do this. The other thing is always say yes. Never say no. Never say, I don't think that's up to my level, or I don't think they're going to be able to pull that off, or that doesn't sound, hey, you know what? It doesn't sound good. Maybe you being part of it will make it better. Maybe you could put yourself into something. I've done some things where were not good, and I couldn't get the people running it to listen and try to making changes. But then I've done other things where they start off not so good and they get better and better. So saying yes to everything and putting yourself out there. And I don't know, I never think anything I do looks stupid. I never try to look at it like, oh, well, I don't want to do that. That'll make me look stupid. I'll put myself out there. I'll try. Because, to create art, you never know what direction you're going to come at it. And to think of what you do, whether you said it's script writing or performing or anything, to perform in arts, and I do feel haunting is an art. It's a performance art, and everything that we do within it is art. it does take some struggle, and it does take a lot out of you physically, emotionally, mentally, financially. It's hard. Most haunters don't make money back their first year. Some do, but most don't. Most, I think they say well, no, I'm probably out of date on my figures, but I think it was 3 years. So you got to be ready to be doing your 9 to 5. You take a job. Like I drove a taxi for 3 years in New York City at night, because that was good for me. So I could do my day job and I could do theater, and it was flexible. I've done Ubering. You do things with your number one goal as your goal, but you got to feed yourself. So you got to look for things that you're able to do on the side. And to me, a day off is a day where I'm haunting. I'd rather haunt than stay on a beach.
Yeah.
That's me. Yeah. I like anytime I have time off, normal times. The only thing I do that might be like that I like to go to a lot of museums. What do I do in museums? I get stuck in front of painting and statues that are inspiring me and making me think about different, if we did this, that picture reminds me, everything is constantly inspiring me. So I go to like museums and stuff, or like I said, I travel a lot, seeing architecture or meeting people and hearing what they have to say. Everything's an inspiration. Everything like links back to things you're doing. Yeah, I'm really lucky. I am living the dream, I guess, because I'm doing exactly what I've always wanted to do. I wasn't always able to do this. The reason I am able to do this is because I didn't let things stop me. I don't let anybody say no. And because of, like I said, because of my husband being there and helping me to achieve these things. I, on the other hand, help him. So it's a partnership. So, it doesn't have to be somebody you're married to. It could be your business partner, whatever it is. Having two people or more working on something together and going towards the same goal. It's sharing that burden, all those hard things like paying the rent, feeding yourself, having help really makes a difference. No man's an island. I stand here before you like I did this and I did this and I did this. I couldn't do any of this if it wasn't for other people that have helped me along the way and, helped me get to this point.
Yeah, I guess kind of what you alluded to earlier with the internet. A lot of great things have come from the internet and a lot of these communities and networking and there's a lot more opportunity. But I do think that one thing that people struggle with is you see people maybe like yourself or, somebody who's made a movie or whatever, and you go, I want to do that. And maybe don't set yourself the right stages. And you think, I'm going to go from, and I mean, I've done it. You start a podcast or you start a show or you get involved in something and you're trying to relate to the person who's on the top of the mountain immediately. And it can get very disheartening, I think, for people because it doesn't happen within 6 months or 12 months or 2 years. And you're kind of going,
that's a really good point.
And like people kind of just go, I'm done. That's it. It's like winning the lottery. Some people just get these jobs and some people don't. And I think what you said is quite interesting, like to be doing this for 40 odd years and never letting it, drive taxis, do Uber and do whatever it takes with this goal in mind. Yeah. I'm
not going to post pictures on the internet of me driving. That's not interesting. But look, here I am in a film with so-and-so. That's interesting. And then it's just a slice. And people look at that and they're like, oh, how come she gets to do that? She's been doing garbage work a lot of times and doing other whatever I can do to move forward. I'm not saying a lot of stuff, most of the stuff I've done is fantastic. And I've had some great opportunities, but it's also having people giving me the opportunities and trying to look, I know people say never work for nothing. Sometimes you have to work for nothing. If it's in an art form, sometimes you have to work for nothing. That free gig that I did over here got me some interested in me, and they're going to pay me for a week. Fantastic. I'm going to take it. Then go back and do another free gig. I'm working with this director. He's a young director. He doesn't pay me. That's fine. He has a good vision. I like the way he's going. Maybe he'll hire me. Maybe he'll become famous and a big director, and he'll get a budget and he'll hire me. I do a lot of work like that. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm able to take on gigs that don't always pay. I like the gigs that pay best, but sometimes you have to take gigs that don't pay to move forward. Now, on that note, I don't like haunts that don't pay people or that think it's okay to pay their cast in pizza. I really have a problem with that. If you're a professional haunt and you're hiring people for the month of October or 2 weekends, even whatever, you have to pay people. It's right. And don't say they like to do it and they'll do it anyway. That's not right. That's not a right way of treating people. You have to appreciate people, and you have to give them something so that they don't go down the block and say, I can't work for you anymore. I got to go make money and get a job at McDonald's. You mm-hmm. want to at least give them something so that they don't turn around and go, I want to do this, but I need to eat, so I've got to go take a job. So, I do have a problem with people not funding their cast properly. But on the other side, if you're doing a gig here and there, that's a free gig and you're not getting paid for it, there's opportunities. So don't say, so on the other side, as a performer, don't say no to something just because they don't have a budget, unless it's like you're committing to a whole big show and they're paying rent and they're paying this and that, and they're just not going to pay their performance. That's wrong. Mm-hmm. That's absolutely wrong. But as a performer, yeah, take that gig every now and then where you're, and of course, charity gigs, you always do charity gigs for free. You never take any money for that because it's a charity gig, because there are people that are much worse off than you are mm-hmm. every time. But yeah, say yes to everything. Find other people, be in a community. If you don't have a partner, get into a community, get into a group, form your own group. We have strength in numbers. Don't give up on your dreams. I mean, yeah. I'm in my 60s now. When I was in my 40s, I don't know what I was doing. I thought I was doing like, oh, this is it. But then as I got older, I was like, oh, wait, no, this is it. No, this is it. And I kind of got to see more and more opportunities open up for me. And now there's more opportunities than ever. And I do feel that moving forward, people are going to appreciate more of the arts, and people like us who are artists in whatever form of art you're doing. After like what we've been through, I think it's going to open up a lot more people to it. And I also think that horror, after going through this past year, I think horror is going to be still big. Mm-hmm. I know John explained it in the movie Haunters when he talked about the Depression, how the greatest horror movies came out during the Depression. And I just can't wait to see like what's ahead of us in the next couple of years. And I'm thrilled to be part of it. I'm going to be part of this in my own little way. I'll be part of things that are moving forward. And I hope to be able to grab as many other haunters with me, and we all move forward together.
Yeah. And I think that's something that people should really take from that as well, is it doesn't always have to be, it can be your definition of perfect. So maybe for somebody, it's you work a 9 to 5 and then you haunt on the weekends and that's what makes you happy. Or maybe for somebody else, it's give up everything and move countries and follow the dream. Maybe for somebody else, it's to have a wife or a husband and kids and do some part-time stuff. It doesn't have to be, Hollywood Hills or, because a lot of people get, I think, confused, and then you kind of lose sight of why you might like something or you might think you got into something. And I had somebody, I know it's a quote and I'm not sure where it's from, but that whole thing with like the definition of hell being your last day on earth, the person that you have become gets to meet the person that you could have become. Huh. And like that always kind of stuck with me, because it was like, sometimes I think people get detached from what they intended on doing with, you know, things like Instagram. Like you said, you wouldn't post a picture of maybe some of the crappier jobs that you've had to do, or the things you've had to go through in your life, even from getting hurt, or maybe, you know, stuff that goes on at home, and just all those pains and troubles. Everybody only sees the other side, which is the 1% side, where you've had to put in 99% hard work and grit and determination to get that 1%. So it's not always...
It's true. I mean, I'm like, sometimes I joke, my glamorous life, I got to go mop the floor today. I'm going to be mopping the floor of my glamorous life. As humans, I bet Brad Pitt scrubs the toilet every now and then too, you know, probably not all the time, but maybe now with the pandemic, who knows? But, you know, we all have to interact during this life in some way, try to do it in a good way with people. My daughter, when she wanted to go to college, she was looking at the arts, and my husband was like, I am not going to do this again and go through another, you know, like she wanted to do theater and dance. And so she ended up taking a different road, and she got her master's in art education, art history, but she still haunts. So she's a teacher. She's a full-time teacher, but during October, look out, kids, you wouldn't even recognize her. And then she does immersive haunts on the weekend. So she has a regular full-time professional career job, but she still does all the things she wants. She still is doing immersive theater, and she's doing haunt during season. And, you know, that's really, you know, same like me. She loves doing it. Is she able to do it full time? No. Will she in the future? Maybe. But for now, she's got her real professional career. I love hearing different haunters that have these professional careers, and then they haunt during season. And it's just amazing to me, like, wow, does anybody know what you do? I've met a few teachers. She's not the only teacher I've met that haunts. It's like, no, I don't share my haunt life with the rest of my, with the people in my professional career. And, you know, I don't have that because I don't really have a professional career. Like, this is it. Like, I'm a haunter. This is all I do. I'm a performer. So, you know, even if I'm doing something that's not horror-based, it's usually some sort of performance thing. And people know I'm pretty free about telling people nowadays that I'm a haunter, as opposed to, like, when I was growing up, when it was like I'm kind of busy in October. No, I can't come to see you. Busy during October. And then not really saying what it is. And then when people find out, it's like, you do what? I went through many years of you do what? So it's a great time, I think, to be a haunter, because you can do it. You can do it as professional. And then again, for any kind of career in the arts, I know I've talked to people where they say, don't take that part-time job because it makes you do that one thing that you want to do. I have to disagree. I think do whatever you need to do so that you can do the things that you want to do. Yeah. No matter what it is, you know, and whatever brings you joy and happiness. Like you said, some people would never think about becoming a haunter, but yet they'll come to my haunted house every year and scream their head off. And maybe if they met me in a dark alley, they'd be like, not want to meet me or anything, but then other people would want to meet me. So, you know, everyone's different. You know?
Okay. So for my final question then, where do you see the haunt industry going, or what direction do you think? I had just a thought myself when I had seen a lot of these drive-through attractions and stuff kind of take off, obviously because of the pandemic. I thought maybe there might be an interesting angle there to incorporate that into things when all this hopefully blows over. But where do you think, are we going to have to go more extreme? Which way does this thing have to go to kind of keep up in the ante or whatever?
I think that its diversity is what really moves our industry forward. We need to still have traditional haunts so that we can get every level of the type of horror you want. Right now, we have such a great diversity between extreme and theatrical haunts and traditional haunts. Look, I never want to say, oh, let's not do a pop-up, maze, because there's going to be people that, and I love it, that just want, that kind of old school kind of haunted house, haunted maze where you have the vampire and the Dracula and everything. Then with immersive theater, I think we can explore more of the dark side of humanity and explore ourselves and see where we're going in smaller groups. Like you can't put hundreds and hundreds of people like you can put through a maze. You can't do that with an immersive haunt. You can put smaller numbers through, and I think that's something that we can also expand on. The maze that I work at, I've been working at for 6 years, we take on not only theatrical themes, but we take on extreme themes. So it's a conglomeration of different types. So you don't know what's behind the next door, but it's also commercially successful because they figured out a way to chuck a lot of people through a night. Like you can't be financially successful if you're only doing 3 or 4 people in one night. You're not ever gonna make it financially, work like these big theme parks work. But is there an in-between part where you can find a way to make it financially successful, because you need financial success so you can open your doors and you can put on your lights and you can pay your actors. You need that. So with every part of the art, show business, there's the show and there's the business. You need to have both working for you. Are we able to take it to new levels? Oh, yeah, heck yeah. I think there's a lot of places we haven't gone. Just looking at every year, the new ideas that come out and the new themes that come out with horror movies. Do I want to see next year a whole bunch of pandemic movies? Hell no. I don't want to see any pandemic movies. I think I've lived through enough of those. Do I want to see more themes, dark themes? Do I want to see regular films that aren't horror films per se, but explore darker subjects? Yeah, let's do it. Come on, let's try that. Do I want to see live shows that are looking at things and exploring? I keep bringing up the word explore a lot because I think that performance is a way for us as performer and as guests, for everyone to go together and to see where we're going. And isn't that what life is? We're on a trip, we're on a journey. Let's take a look at every avenue. Everything doesn't have to be unicorns and cotton candy, although I love cotton candy. We can look at both, the darker sides of life, and let's see where extreme. How much more extreme can we get it? We're not killing people. What else can we do? I think I've seen like a lot of different things. I'd love to see what's next. Where else? I've taken things where I've taken a needle, not for real, of course, but and injected people with poison. Of course, it's not real. It's a show. Yeah. To the point where people are thinking they're being, and if you play it the right way, people will think that you just did something to them. Where is it taking place? Is it taking place here or is it taking place here? It's always taking place here. This is where horror is. Horror lives in our minds. Let's go into the minds of people and see what darkness, where we could take it, what it shows us about ourselves. Again, I don't mean to say that we're all like horrible murderers or anything like that. But when we look at the dark side of life, it's just another part of life and just another way to explore things.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So just on the last thing again, I guess. So everybody can find you on Instagram and Facebook are probably the two more popular.
Yeah, Facebook, just anyone who wants, just message me. I love talking to people about horror, about haunts, about anything they like. I'm like really, you see, I'm easy to chat with. if you want to see the documentary Haunters, The Art of the Scare, I definitely recommend it. And not just because I'm in it. I mean, I'm in it, but it's really good. And it's showing right now on Shudder. It's showing on Amazon. And it's showing on, go to hauntersthemovie.com and you can see the list of shows. You can always get it on iTunes. If you do buy it, make sure you buy the one with the special features, because I think it's either $1 more or the same price. And the special features are awesome. I don't know if you've seen it, but if you like Horror Nights, John Murdy, have you seen it?
Yeah.
Okay, I love John Murdy's story. It's great. So you can see me. See me chat on there. Otherwise, on my website, sharmayer.com, Facebook, Instagram, Shar Mayer. I do Twitter, but I find Twitter to be pretty boring. I'm like a visual person. I like to see things and see. I think Facebook and Instagram kind of fits better with that. And who knows in the next project I'll be involved with. Right now, I'm just like skating through the end of this pandemic, doing some stuff with Blackmask. They're doing online stuff, so I've been working with them. Hopefully, I'll continue with them. 17door.com. Hopefully, I'll be continuing with them. Who knows my next project? I always have things coming up. Once I'm able to talk about things, I usually post it online. And like I said, I love to chat, no matter where you're from, what language you speak. I have Google Translate on my phone, and I love to hear about. I've talked a lot today, but I want to hear about like what's going on in everyone's mind and in their part of the world. See what's going on there.
Yeah. So what I'll do is in the description of anywhere you're listening to this, whatever platform, I'll have all the links for your stuff and all the projects you're working with. And then I'll also link the Haunters movie. I do know that in the UK and Ireland right now, I think it's only streaming on Amazon Prime. I checked everywhere else. I think it's only available there at the minute.
You don't get Shudder?
We do have Shudder, but I don't see that on there. Sometimes some of the stuff doesn't come over at the same time. I don't know why. I got my poster up there. Yeah, I see that. That's cool.
Well, you could always go to hauntersthemovie.com or Haunters on Facebook, Haunters, The Art of the Scare on Facebook. I mean, you can message John. John's also really accessible, and I'm going to put words in his mouth. He's really easy to talk to. He's an awesome guy, a guy that really does understand what haunt is. He's not just like some guy that is like, hey, let's make a movie about this because I can do the. He really does love haunt, and it was an honor for me to meet him and talk to him. And the place we met was at one of these shows that I did was at Play Dead, and I scared him off his chair. You can ask him when you talk to him. That was the first time I met him. But then we were traveling in the same circles. Like I said, it's weird how these things go. But he really does love haunt. I mean, he's not just like some guy with a camera, and he has a really, really cool view about haunts and his vision. And I'm really proud to be part of that film. I've done other haunt documentaries and stuff, but there's nothing like Haunters. I love what he's saying and what he's talking about and how he shows it. And everybody that worked on that project, almost everybody, I really enjoy meeting and becoming friends with. And it was a great experience. And I've traveled because of this film too. We've gone to a bunch of different film festivals with it, and I've been able to meet people just from this film, people all over the world who saw his film and really love it. And it's interesting how haunt is just, like you said, by you, it's just starting up. It's really blossomed in some parts of the world, and other parts it's just starting up, and it's so exciting to see that kind of stuff. For me as a haunter, to see things just starting up, it's like, this is how it was for me when I started, and to see how it's moving along, it's really exciting. I love being part of the haunt community. Almost everybody that I've ever met through haunting has been like awesome people who are like totally cool and, great people to chat with. So and thanks, Eric, for like giving me the time to talk about haunting, because as you can tell, I could talk on and on and on about haunting, and Thanks for not contacting me in October, because I'm usually busy that month, and that's usually the month everybody likes to talk about haunt.
Yeah, I know. It's been absolutely fantastic having you on. And I will say about that movie, you can really feel that for the most part, nearly everybody involved really loves the industry, and it didn't feel like it feels like a passion project rather than oh, look at this thing that's getting popular, let me make a movie and see how much money I can make off of this, or just get involved so you can push your own agenda. And it didn't feel like a commercial for anybody.
That's so true. Yeah. Like when I first met John, like I said, I worked on different things. Well, I've done it for so long, like a lot of people like to talk to me about it because I've done it so long. Mm-hmm. But it's not just the length of time. It's there's more to it. Like I know other people have done it a long time too, but it's something really important to me. And I love talking about haunting. You could tell. And I love to talk to other people who have the same passion. And what's nice is that this film has connected me with so many other people. Like I know people in this area who've been doing it for years, and mm-hmm. I know them for years, but one of the greatest things that I find personally about this film is being able to talk to people at all different states and all different countries that have the same passion as I do. And that's really exciting to find people that feel the same way. And John is one of those people too. John really, really loves haunt. If you saw, I would love to film him going through one year and watching him, because like I said, we do go to haunts together, and watching him scream. I mean, it reminds you like when you're like 6 or 7 years old and you go to your first haunted house, and that feeling, that scream that you get, and realizing it wasn't a bad scream. It wasn't like something horrible happened in your life. It was just something that scared you. And then a moment later, you're okay. And that feeling of, I did it, that exuberance, I guess. It's an awesome feeling. And hopefully other haunters feel the same way. I think they do. Hopefully the haunters feel the same way as I do about haunting. And they'll continue to, share what they feel. And you too. Share what you feel. And you're doing it with your podcast, sharing this love that you have of horror. And I think that's awesome. And it's great that we're able to do this. And we're not just the black sheep. Well, many of us are the black sheep, but we're also, it's to the point where, you could say horror and haunt has become mainstream in some way. Look at the movie that won the Academy Award last year. It's more than just the I hate to say stepchild. I hate that expression, but like the bad part of life. I mean, it's just horror and haunt is just another part and another type of art that you can explore and enjoy.
It's true. I couldn't help while I was watching Haunters, I rewatched it again recently, and I don't know if you've ever seen a movie called The Houses October Built.
Yeah, I did.
And I couldn't help but think guys. I would have loved to have seen some of you guys do something similar where you travel around and do some haunts together, you and John and some of the others. Yeah. That would have been fun.
John, I would love to do that. That would be such a cool thing. Okay, so that would be a way that I could do visiting lots of different haunts and not lose my season because I'd be working. So yeah, I would love to do that. I know people have tried to do that. Like I see on different websites and different web series too, where people go to different haunts, but every haunt has different rules, and not everybody wants you to film everything, and not everyone wants you to film anything. They don't understand that the more you show, the more people want to see, which I think is a good way of looking at things. But everything is owned. Maybe if it was a film, that maybe people would be into doing that, and then suggest that to John. I definitely be into doing that.
Maybe you can we can chat again at the end of this year after a long and successful haunt season, and maybe that'll be in the works.
Yeah, then we're into Christmas. And then we do Christmas haunts. Yeah. That's another new thing. There's Christmas haunts. Whoever thought there would be Christmas stuff?
I know, right?
But it seems like any excuse for a haunt, I'm there.
Me too. Well, it's been absolutely fantastic talking to you.
My
I really
pleasure.
appreciate the time. Like I said, I'll put all the links down below, so anybody who's listening to this, wherever you're listening, down below will be a link to your website, your Instagram, Facebook handles, the Haunters movie, and everything else that you're involved with. We'll have all the links below. I myself, anyone who's listening, probably already knows where to find me. At First Class Horror on Instagram and Facebook, Class Horrorcast, anywhere you get podcasts. And that's about it. I hope everyone enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you all soon.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, everyone at First Class.
Support First Class Horror on Patreon for as little as $1. Can't get enough of the horror? Carve yourself a deal from official merchandise, only on Teespring. Join us on all social media at First Class Horror. We have such sights to show you.